I am so excited to be able to hang out with these two lovely ladies. And we were talking about our lives, and I've been married 17 years. And 17 years, I get to say a few quotes that I've heard along the way that I love. Did you know, someone told me this before I got married, and it took me a while to understand it. Did you know the worst year of marriage is the year you're in?
What?
Marriage is like having a really, really good phone, but you only get one app.
Oh, yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah. And that one app, like, it works sometimes, it doesn't, it yells at you sometimes, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It costs more sometimes, it gets mad at you. Can you imagine the app itself gets mad at you? And I did, okay, listen to this. This is, okay. The secret to keeping your wife happy is such a good secret that no guy knows it.
Jared. Armando, you hear that? Armando, do you hear that?
Right? And then, now, guys are no good at keeping secrets, okay? So the secret to keeping the guy happy, the first year of marriage, just great sex and great food.
Okay? Easy.
After the first year, just any sex or any food. Now, I've been married 17 years, right? After 10 years, it's just any food. Any food. My wife, get this, she heated up some kebab she made last September, and I was like in love all over again. Did you heated the kebab up for me, babe? It was like the best thing ever. She reheated it for me. It was the best thing ever. But okay, truth be told, I got my nephew is dating. I'm actually like happy. I'm happily married. Dating these days is weird, right?
Oh, sure. It's
so freaking all the internet stuff. There was COVID a few years ago. Like there's like weird scams, right? So he told me, he's like, well, Uncle, I really like this girl. We were talking, like I followed her on Instagram. I said, wait. If you like a girl, you don't follow her on Instagram. You do what I did when I was in college. You follow her home.
Oh my God.
Right? Like do it legit, dude. Follow her home. Follow her to her place of business. Learn how to Jimmy open her car. No, seriously. Okay. Hold on, Natasha. Listen. If you were locked out of your car, wouldn't you dig it if Zeke or Mateo could Jimmy it open for you? See? That's the look. Now,
if I'm there.
If you're there. Well, I had this one girl, she was weird. Jimmy opened her car and she got mad. I'm like, dude, what's your problem? She's like, I wasn't even locked out of my car. So technical. I was like, in case. You know what I'm saying? In case.
And your nephew still let you talk to him?
No, yeah. Dude, but when I was dating back in the day, things were a lot easier. Like if I wanted to meet the right girl, I just went to Tijuana.
Oh my God.
Dude, okay, listen. This is true. This is just between us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
There was this massage parlor in Tijuana. I must have went there like 5 or 6 times before I learned they also do massages.
Oh my God.
It was great. Tijuana, the place, the city that keeps giving. It was awesome. Look, I wasn't no athlete in college, all right? But trust me, when I went to Tijuana, I scored more than Magic Johnson,
okay?
My God.
Oh,
I had
Slammo.
Yeah. Slammo, the Joe Slammo. Look, dude, in college, when I go to Tijuana, I had a better batting average than Tony Gwynn did. Right, 394, right? Like the beer.
Yeah.
Good God, Joe.
It was the best. It was the best time of my life. It was the best time of my life. Now, I got kids and bills and all those. But at least I get to hang out with y'all.
Yes, you do. Cheers to that.
I'm super, super excited.
Welcome to another episode of Odd Pairing Podcast. I am your host, Natasha, and guess who is back in the building?
Back in action.
As you guys saw last week, she left me by myself unattended. I hope that you guys liked that episode because good God, was I unattended. It could have went probably more left than it did, but I didn't have any hard liquor. I just had June shine.
I think you did amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
It could have went. I was ready for it to go hard left.
Missed being here, so
Yeah, I'm glad
happy
that
to
you're
be
back. I'm glad you're back and stop traveling and stuff. No one likes that. Maybe other people, but I don't like it when you're doing it. I mean, yeah, go on another day. Don't go on a day that we need to.
I know.
To do an episode. But I'm glad that you're back. How has it been since we haven't talked in a while?
It's been good. Lots of traveling. I actually just got back from Puerto Vallarta I went there this weekend for a wedding, which I'd never been to before. And it is like absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
Gorgeous. Got to dip my toes in the water. I was with my parents, so we had Father's Day with my dad and took him out to brunch. And we actually went and sat and got our feet eaten by fish. I've never done that before. And my mom
it's still a weird concept.
It's super weird, but my dad did it. And he said, only for you. And I was like, yeah.
Exactly.
So, it's good.
Wow.
It was fun.
I could have given some marriage talk.
Oh, God. Talk about it out. Right? So today, guys, we have, as you guys seen in the intro, we have Joseph.
Hi.
Is it Zaid?
That is my name, yeah.
Joseph Zaid.
But yeah. I just
Samo.
kind of go by Joe, but my real name is
I want to put that out there in case they want to come back and figure out who
Find
you
ya.
are.
Yeah.
So if you guys remember in season 1, episode 4, Joe was on talking about the prohibition.
Yeah. And we said we would have you back.
Yes.
I appreciate it. No, I have a podcast. I run it by my lawyer. You can find it everywhere you get podcasts and YouTube and all that. And I love doing it. I give a lot of legal advice. I'm an attorney. And, and of course, if you have any questions and whatnot, you can always contact me anytime you want.
So welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And let's talk about what Paige has brung for us today. My first drink, because I'm getting to another one on the second one, and I'll tell you guys about that one on the second one. But let's talk about...
Well, it's finally heating up in San Diego. So
Yes, it is.
I brought some bubbly rosé. It's actually a Kirkland signature brand Prosecco. So I don't know. It's just perfect warm weather, relaxing, hanging out beverage I like.
Yeah, and I must say that Kirkland is taking over in terms of alcohol.
I'm going to say
I'm very surprised.
all facets of my life.
Yeah, I'm very
revolve around
everything,
Costco and
everything.
Kirkland.
I'm very surprised the more and more I try something new from them, like in terms of some new alcoholic beverage or even just supplies that they have. I'm like, it's really good quality stuff.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think
This
that
is a
coming
good
from
one.
an actual store's brand, right? You wouldn't think that would be the case. But for this one, it is absolutely amazing. This is so good.
Yeah, the private label stuff. They do a good job selecting their suppliers. and-
Yeah. I mean, I do have a question what they mean about ethical wines, but we're gonna just skip
It
over that.
says ethical ones?
Ethical
Ethical.
wines.
Okay.
I want to know what that means, but somebody write that in the comments. Let us know what that
Tell us
means
what it is in
because
the
I had other
comments,
thoughts. All right. So today's episode, we're gonna talk about the drinking age.
We've
Yeah.
talked about it a lot this season.
Yeah.
And our thoughts.
Mhm.
So
They, it was the drinking age. There was a federal law passed in 1984. Then president, little trivia. Who was the president?
Was it Reagan?
Yeah,
Reagan.
Yeah, because it was out passed now. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So it was passed, and then they made it a federal law to keep the age. The minimum age would be 21. Like, so states can make it higher than 21. No one has, but it has to be at least 21. So that is a federal law. It was kind of funny because the states that was 18, like those kids, they got grandfathered in, so they didn't have to stop drinking.
Right.
Yeah, but I know.
for those 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For about 2-3 years, there was the grandfather clause for the 18-year-old. That's what they
yeah, you
put in
can't
there.
cut people off just
You can't. Once you
like
start, once you get the
Because they already was starting at 16.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Preparing for 18.
Exactly. And then there's also, they can't, it's actually, okay, a state can make it lower than 21, but the law is written that if they do, then they're cut off from federal funds. So obviously no state wants that.
A big consequence.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because it would be like if someone's drinking at their house or like at a little restaurant, it doesn't affect interstate commerce. So the federal government would not have the constitutional authority to ban it. But what they do have the constitutional authority is to control their money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So they said, okay.
Which we learned in the Prohibition.
Yeah. That's a big deal. Control the, yeah.
Right.
So,
Controlling the money.
Yeah. And so that was the federal law. So no state can do anything about that now.
What about Washington, D.C.? Because my dad lived in Virginia, and he always has these stories. When that was in the 70s, but like going into D.C. because they're not a state. How does that change?
Well, the federal law does apply to D.C. right now, but so if he was doing that in the 70s, so D.C. had a lower drinking age than Virginia. And so that's why,
that's why people go in.
Yeah. Just like when I was a kid, we'd go to Tijuana. It was lower drinking age.
Yeah.
It was 18.
Right.
Right. But so DC had a lower drinking age.
Does the 21 and up apply to like our territories as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of the above. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of debate. It's kind of like the gun control debate, in the sense that if you make it outlaw, but people are still going to get it, they're still going to drink it, they're still going to serve it, blah, blah, blah. But if, it's not enforced, like the biggest enforcement is not against if someone starts drinking underage, like they'll get like a slap on the wrist, if that. It's more like the big one is just the restaurants can't serve it, to people underage. And that, then grocery stores have to ID people, they can't sell it to someone underage. And so that's, I don't know. I don't mind it just because maybe it curbs it a little bit, but like in France and other countries, they don't have that. And,
so I
they
had
gotta teach responsible
I actually
drinking
looked
early.
up like different other countries too, like what their drinking ages were. And for Europe, the legal drinking ages is between 16 and 18 because there's so many European countries that they have a variance on it. So you could be in one place and be 16-year-old and drink, and then go to another place and you're 17, and then another one and you're 18, right? So they have that. It could be as low as 14 in some countries when accompanied by a parent. I like that. That if your parent is with you, they're your responsibility. And then I saw that there was in Japan and South Korea, the legal age is 20 and 19. When you have like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, they prohibited, period. You can't do it because of the religious purposes. But
it's
that
illegal
don't stop.
Completely?
Yeah, it's illegal completely in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. And this was an interesting thing in terms of like Saudi Arabia, because when I lived in Bahrain, you could leave Saudi Arabia and come over to Bahrain and start drinking.
Oh, because
really?
it was legal in Bahrain? Oh, wow.
Because they used to call that island the island that God couldn't see. Now,
there's always an exception.
Right.
Oh, that's
very
awesome.
Confusing as a used-to-be Christian who thought of God as omnipresent. That means he's everywhere. So what do you mean? Is he blind in one eye to this particular country? Or like, what is it that he can't see? But that's what they used to call it, the island that God couldn't see. And I mean,
like
people
that.
would come over and drive, and they would take off their hijab and like all this other kind of stuff, because it's such a like a westernized kind of like country that people could do what they wanted.
So do you speak Arabic?
Just a little.
Shwaya, a little?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I speak zero.
Yeah.
So
In case you were wondering.
Dude, how crazy would it have been if she just starts breaking out in Arabic to us? Like, whoa.
Right. Right.
Full of surprises.
Yes.
So yeah, that was like one thing that I remember being there, because the women were driving and like all of it, and because at the time in Saudi Arabia, women couldn't drive. Now they can, thankfully.
I know.
But they used to come over to Bahrain.
No, just kidding.
And
So it was a good law.
they would come over and it would be mayhem. Like on the weekends, you knew, and I, as a woman, this is not a going against anything, but you could tell the ones who didn't drive every day, because they would come over on the weekend.
A little rusty.
And drive, and it would be rusty.
Oh, wow.
It would be rusty. You could tell. So In other countries like
But in
New Zealand,
Saudi Arabia, they had kind of an exception, like for like in the American bases and stuff. Like it wasn't like the Saudi Arabian government, like because we have bases there, right?
Mhm.
And then for decades, so they wouldn't go on the base and be like, "Oh, the Americans are drinking here," even though it's illegal. It was, so
Yeah,
they
I
wouldn't
have a
enforce
friend
it
that
there,
lived on an American base in Saudi, and she talks about making their own wine and like
Yeah.
doing
Oh,
all
yeah.
sorts of stuff.
Oh,
the
because
embassy
probably
and
it's hard to
everything.
buy it.
It's hard to buy it.
So you have to make it there.
Mhm.
Oh, because it's hard to buy it and you'd have to distribute it. And no one's like, I'm not sending it to Saudi Arabia.
Right,
I'm not going on a
exactly.
plane with that thing because, they
Unless
get
you
caught.
unless you was a diplomat, then you can get it.
Well,
another
there's
way.
exceptions for
Yeah.
diplomats.
Yeah, diplomats, yeah.
Then we could get it in different ways. But so they didn't do it because of those particular religious things. Australia and New Zealand is 18. Africa is as low as 18. South
this is a good
America,
It's good.
South America has a legal drinking age of 18, and then Argentina has an age of 20. So it ranges, seems like, from 14 to 21 around the world.
But mostly around the 18 to
18 to 21.
to 21.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of shows like how different countries see drinking in a different light, right? So for us, I've always heard the debate on if you could carry a gun, then you could drink at 18.
Oh, see,
Right?
it's like gun control.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have people here who are, neurosurgeons like all over the place. And anybody who's in neurology knows that the kid's brain is developing between the ages of, all the way up to 23, actually. Right. And so when we think about their rationale and saying that, we don't want to hinder on the kids' brains during this time, so we're not going to let them drink at this age. If you still at 21 and your brain is developing, then you still fucking it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you still kind of messing it up a little bit. So what is...
Well, there's a lot of other things in our society that are fucking up their brains too.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But the thing you said about the gun and the 18, that's how voting went from 21 to 18. Because the soldiers in Vietnam, when they come back, they're like, what the heck is this? I can go to war and die and fight for the country, but I can't vote for the country. You know what I'm saying? So then shortly after, they reduced that, right around that time. So because that was the argument. It's like, why can't I join the military, but I can't vote? So they joined it. But they didn't do it for drinking. They upped it. Better or worse.
And it still goes in terms of what Paige just said, in terms of there's other things kind of, messing up your brain. When we think about how people, if you, going back to the military, I remember people would be out there shooting 50 cows and doing all this kind of thing with very low to no ear protection. It's mandatory to have it, but very low to no, right? You could be 18, 19 out there doing it, messing up your eardrum, and that's okay. But just a little bit of brain, it's a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
It's a no-no. And I love that country. What country was that? That said that you can have 14-year-olds
Drinking with their parents?
Yeah.
Was
And
it
like
France
some European countries allow you to do that, because remember when we talked about once about like where it's safe for kids to like actually experience drinking. I think that with your parent is a safe spot to do it, unless your parent got a problem. Now, if your parent got a problem, we on some other shit.
That's not what we're talking about.
Right. But if you want to have it in a safe environment, I think all parents who drink and condone drinking should allow their kids to kind of like drink, just to kind of, so they know what's safe for them, how much to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
and so figuring out at 21, like Paige said in another episode when we had, what was it, Rob? When you guys were talking about college.
Oh,
we had the college episode. With Rob, you slamming them back at 21.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Slammo here.
Right. And I'm pretty sure, because I want to know from you, like what type of, has there ever been any cases that you had to do in terms of
the only cases
drinking?
It came up a bunch of times with clients or their kids, especially if they were underage and they're, got a DUI. That's like an extra big step up. And God forbid for the ones that like and they injure someone or get in a crash or something and they're underage and drunk. That was, because if it's just like drinking on the beach or something, it's like well, I don't know, $200 fine or something. They're not gonna need a lawyer for that. But when it's drinking and driving, that's when it really crosses the line.
Yeah.
And then the other times is, believe it or not, there'll be a convenience store or something that sells alcohol to people underage, or they get busted for it. They lose their liquor license. Like that's come up a lot. You know, that's why it's like that's where, you know, because they want to focus on, you know, like retail, not on the little kids that, you know, so that's the big one.
It's public safety.
Yeah, and then
is
there's
what
the federal
they
law.
yeah.
I don't think it's going to change because I don't think a politician's going to, can you imagine like, my campaign, I'm going to reduce the drinking age, right? And like, because the people that vote are not the 18-year-olds, you know?
Right.
No.
And
if
so
they are, they're like way beyond their years to be voting anyway. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I'm voting, I'm like, do I really want to vote for this dude? Like his platform is I'm going to reduce the drinking age. It's not going to happen.
But can you imagine how many young people going to be at the, all of a sudden, I'm really into politics.
I'm really into politics. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, so I don't think so. Yeah, that's when it's come up for me is the drinking and driving thing with clients, and especially with convenience stores that get busted selling alcohol to kids, you know, or under 21. And it's weird because they'll have like a undercover go and then like,
they do like sting operations.
Yeah, they do. It's pretty nuts how they do it. But they don't like, they just sell it and they don't ask for an
Never buy someone alcohol who's under 21, like standing outside of a convenience store, because that's part of the sting operation.
What is that? I didn't hear you say.
Well, if a kid who's like 18 and you're walking into the liquor store and they say, "Hey, will you buy me blah blah blah?" Like you can they do sting operations that way too.
Even on the customers.
Oh no!
Yeah,
kidding.
for the customers, not just the store.
So the investigator will tell like somebody.
So they have someone who's under like a 18-year-old kid,
and they'll tell someone like me walking in.
Yeah, you're walking in and you say, and the kid stops you and says, "Hey, here's $20. Can you go buy me a 6-pack or whatever?" Yeah. And some people will be like, "Sure," and they go in and they buy it and they give it to the kid, and then there's sting operations to get people.
And then that person gets busted, or the store. I haven't had that one.
Well, the store can't get busted because they're of age.
They sold to someone 21, but the person buying for the minor it gets busted.
I haven't had that one yet.
So don't buy alcohol for anyone you don't know outside of the liquor store. If some kid asked
me, I'd say, heck no.
Go talk to your mom.
Yeah. Can I have your mom's phone number right now and tell her what you're trying to do?
Good for you guys, because that $20 is going right here. Let me show you a very valuable lesson. See, what we do in life is that we don't give strangers our money.
Yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know me. You just gave me your money. That's wild. Thank you.
You wouldn't take it. I bet. What if the kids are going to come after you? Oh, Joe, I like it. I like Natasha.
You don't even know me.
Okay. All right.
No. For one, that's a very valuable lesson. You don't know me.
Right.
And for you to just all of a sudden
trust
think that trust me with your money. Today's lesson is don't trust anybody with your money.
Right? Yeah.
Don't do it. I won't be the one they get. Matter of fact, I might go to jail for stealing your $20 because
I'm just taking your tax dollars back.
I am. I am. Yeah.
Now, there was a liquor store in El Cajon when I grew up, and they would sell to minors, like it was kind of known, but only to minors, like that they knew someone that knew someone that knew someone there. You know what I'm saying?
There's some connection.
There's some sort of connection.
So you had to say a code word.
Yeah, something like that. It was, I don't know, but they did eventually get shut down, and for things like that. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that, and they would. But it's weird. I think sometimes have you ever been to a grocery store like in the morning and you see some guy like buying a bunch of like hard alcohol, like or one bottle, like some dude that's about like he's just gonna drink it outside or something. Like it's like. I've
seen it, and I wonder sometimes, like I've had to buy, alcohol to do the show. And I usually would go in the morning because that's the time that I have. I'm like, okay, let's go in the morning, let's get it. And I go in the liquor store when they first open. And I'm in there just like buying up drinks. And I was like, so I do a show, I do have a podcast where
this is for later.
Yeah, and it's like a preamble because I don't want them to think, at least in my brain, I'm like, I don't want you to think that I'm like an alcoholic. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this is for a show, this is for research, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, sure, ma'am, give me your ID. They don't care.
That's what they all say at 8 a.m.
Right.
Hey, that's what they all say at 8 a.m. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, but you know the difference. Like the guy that's like one bottle and you know he's gonna drink it right outside. You know, as opposed
They're
to
like, make sure you put it in a paper bag.
Right.
yeah. You know.
Yeah. So it's. I think that what ABC is doing, because that's ABC.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what ABC is doing is vital in terms of trying to catch, people doing something wrong, I guess, in that way. But like I said, I feel like that parents who are drinkers and their kid could potentially be a drinker is doing it safely at the house. Doing it safely at the house.
Yeah,
not
teaching
letting
them a
them
lesson
drive.
like how to do it and be
Yeah,
responsible.
be very responsible, having water in between, letting them know like what that is, because then I think that builds that healthy, more culture of kids who are now going to college or going wherever they're going to go when they do become adults and become more healthier drinkers and having other
That's a
people
good
to be
point.
healthier drinkers.
Yeah, it's like having a gun at the house. Like you want to teach the kids, this is
a
what
gun. This is how you
it's
take the
done.
safety off.
Yeah,
this is where you don't touch it.
You don't play with it.
Right.
And you don't, you gotta educate
right.
me. Maybe
Because
I
when
should
you
have my
don't,
15-year-old. What do you think? I'll teach you a little. Listen.
Because when you don't, then that's where the mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're curious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know how to take the safety off. Pow, now you just shot your brother. You know what I mean? So it's like those particular things.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people should be more afraid of taking things out, but they should be more cautious and have more safety planning within their home. Don't ask me because I've been doing therapy all day. That's why safety planning came up. But yes.
I think the thing that with the ages, I think is an interesting thing of like the societal relationship with alcohol.
Yes.
And like American society's relationship with alcohol is, well, I mean, just American, like in general, is in excess.
Yes.
Like excess of everything, like consume everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's excessive. And so it's not a surprise that we have a higher drinking age versus countries that may have a more, I guess, respectful or understanding relationship with alcohol, where it's like, go have a glass of wine with your parents at dinner. Like, that's a respectful way to do that versus a very American thing is like, let's slam those.
Yeah, let's get drunk.
And I think it has to do with like a cultural and societal understanding and relationship. And relationship with that.
Those things are like nuts.
I did a flamingo
they're a lot of
bong
fun
one time.
They are fun, but
they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Joe, tell me something.
Yes.
In terms of what was your relationship with alcohol and what is it now? Like, what was it growing up and then, like, what is it now?
Well, I don't drink. I drink so little. Like, this is the most I've had,
And
this
it's
year.
quality.
And it is quality.
Right, it is quality.
Yeah. But when I do drink, it's beer, but I don't drink that much because I notice it. Like I get like a little wheezy. And then for me, like when I was younger, it didn't affect me as much. But now if I have like one like beer at a restaurant, the next day I'm like feeling out of it, or I'll sleep weird. One beer, like a pint or whatever, And if I have two, forget it. The next day, I'm not hungover, but I'm like,
foggy,
right? And then the sleep is weird, and the digestive is weird. Everything is weird the next day, right?
You're like, I'm all whacked out.
Yeah, just from a couple of beers.
Yeah.
And when I was younger,
just I got to drink more so you don't have that problem.
Yeah, maybe.
You gotta increase your tolerance.
but
maybe that's the problem.
You gotta step it up.
Right? No, but for better or worse, growing up, I was a pothead, like. A lot, but not drinking. So weed, but it was illegal weed. Isn't it funny? I got out of smoking weed as soon as like the law became legal. I don't know. That was coincidental. Okay. Now I don't do.
You're like, I don't want to do any of that anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not living on the edge at all.
Not no thrills to this shit or nothing.
Yeah,
I'm over
it was like I kind of grew out of it. I don't know. But there was a couple times I got too drunk, and that's kind of I still get. Like afraid of that, when I get too drunk, like that happened a lot when I was younger.
So it sounds like a drinking story is coming up.
Well, one time, peppermint schnapps. Have you guys ever had that?
No.
Have you ever had that?
I've had peppermint schnapps because there has been, grandmothers. They grandmothers drink that, so
It is okay, so I just remember like I drank a lot of it and I passed out. And
Is it the
then
worst?
It was for me. I was 16.
all yes.
I was
yeah.
like, my breath was so refreshed and dry.
Well, yeah, if you have
I had great breath.
it's like
And I was
candy
drunk.
cane. It tastes just like candy cane.
It does.
Wow.
It does, and it doesn't
Wait,
taste
do you
like.
just drink it by itself, or
Yeah,
do you mix
you
it?
can
Some
drink it
people
by-
mix it, but I've had it by itself.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's like candy
Like,
cane.
It's just like candy cane.
Yeah, it's like
Fresh breath and
drinking-
drunk.
I just
Yeah,
feel like I would
it's
have like clear
drink-
nostrils.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's just like imagine a candy cane melted, right?
Yeah.
And you just drink it.
Mhm.
So I was 16. I was with my buddies, and check out this peppermint stuff, you know.
Mhm.
And I kept drinking and drinking, and then I was like, this is easy.
Mhm.
And then later I was like, whoa. And you know, I threw
Mhm.
up, and I was like sick, and I'm like, what is this? But when like
Terrible.
smoking weed,
Yeah.
I've never had that problem. Like I
Yeah.
could smoke, freaking a tree. I could smoke a whole tree, okay? And then the next day, I'm like, how's it going, guys?
Not running by my lawyer. Not running by my lawyer doing a whole tree.
A whole tree.
Was this an oak or was it a...
a freaking eucalyptus tree, okay? I'll smoke
Real tall.
that whole, I'll smoke that whole thing, and I'll
Yeah.
be fine the next day. But a peppermint schnapps, one bottle, I was like, out of it, man.
Do you, if you smell it now, are you like,
I've never smelled it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me see. Did you
I mean,
have
what
some
about,
in
like,
your
eating-
purse?
it's a good
What
holiday
about like
gift for
eating
you?
peppermints or anything?
No,
Does it do
then I
anything?
do remember.
Yeah.
It all comes back.
Right.
The body never forgets.
It
The
never
body
forgets.
never forgets.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just like I don't know. It's poison. Like that one was, but especially in high. So you just gotta like, as long as you do it moderately, not excessive, like you're saying. Like if you drink it, I like it. And
Yeah.
it's fun, and there's something about it when you're out with buddies and everyone's drinking it because it's just, it's like, what is it? Like, have you ever thought about it? This is like apples and other fruit. Like, how does it become alcohol? Like, what do? They just like sit it out and like
Yeast
how-
fermentation,
Yeah.
sugar,
Before this show,
chemistry.
that wasn't even my concern. People would talk about it all the time. Oh, there's grapes. What does it do? Does it get me drunk? All right, well, we're doing it.
Okay.
I don't care about the fruits. Okay, now I'm like, okay, now we got a little apple, we got a little blueberry.
tasting notes.
Right, tasting
Exact.
notes. But other than before, didn't care.
Right. They even in prison they make wine. Like
They do.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Like what is it? Like the apples and stuff. Like
Mhm.
they get it.
They do. They use blueberries, raspberries. Don't ask me
Yeah.
how I know. But what I'm saying is that I've never
Yeah.
been in jail before, but I've
Just
seen
putting that out there.
just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Okay, for licensure purposes, I've never been to jail.
Uh,
But I do know that they do hooch.
Is that what they call it?
Yes,
Is
they
it some
call
or
it
pruno or whatever? Yeah.
Hooch.
Which one's a hooch? How do they do that?
Pruno?
Yeah, that's what they call the wine. Or some, but there's different kinds. Which
Mhm.
was the hooch?
The hooch is what it is from. I guess they use it from like the toilet water.
A what?
The toilet water.
Oh wow! And then how do they make it into alcohol?
They whatever fruits that they get from lunch or whatever, then
Uh-huh.
they store it in weird places
And,
Oh,
and
and-
it ferments.
and it ferments.
Uh-huh.
They keep it in the
and
back of the
yeast
toilet.
starts eating the sugar and creates
Mhm.
alcohol.
Oh, gotcha.
It's
Yeah.
probably not the most sanitary,
no,
not.
no.
but it
works.
probably does the job.
Yeah.
Exactly. They
It
drunk.
does. It does.
They drunk.
Yeah, or they go apples and stuff they'll put under the bed for a while, and so if it's just the right, humidity and stuff, it'll turn into wine.
Good God.
Yeah,
Cider.
cider. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Wow.
Oh my God, I love that. I love
I'm
that.
pretty sure that probably in whatever life I had before this one, I probably was in like an alcohol maker.
Ooh,
Oh, I thought you were going to
nice.
say in jail making hooch.
No. Probably.
They're like, I have this feeling that I
Same.
know things about.
For some reason, I feel like that's what it is. But I'm going to open up this one. This is from Mermaid Valley Vineyard right here in Ramona Valley. And this is their red blend. It is a siren song. And it's their, what do they have in here? Grenache, Shiraz, and some other names I can't pronounce. But,
I want you to pronounce them.
oh, I'm going to try. Okay, because I know you
Yeah.
like
Please,
this.
please pronounce
I know
them.
you like this one.
I know. One of my favorite.
Connoisseur.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Connoisseur?
I don't know.
Sonat? Is that what that is? Sonat?
I'll have to read it and translate. Yeah. Sure.
Sonat?
Sinois.
Veteran?
Mudevra.
Mm.
Muvedra.
Because it's French and not Spanish. As you can see, I was pronouncing it in more of a Spanish way.
That is awesome. It looks good.
Oh, yes. Very Spanish.
Natasha.
And then, what is that last one? Tenat?
Sure.
There we go.
You said sure.
Have
Those
you guys-
last three, I really don't know how to pronounce them. So
Yeah.
we'll have to
Oh
put it
my
in our
God.
notes.
So,
Say,
right.
You tell us how to pronounce
tell
these
us.
words.
Somebody sent us a voice note.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, tell us how it tastes.
That was a good one. I've had that one before.
Sweet. Hold on, let me get another one.
That vineyard is beautiful too.
Mhm.
It's really gorgeous.
Oh, you
up
went to
there.
the actual vineyard too?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's tarty, just like I like it.
Tell us more.
Yeah, this is awesome. I like hearing this.
Smack those lips.
Isn't that what was his name?
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he told him, now I be doing that and everywhere I'm at, I'm like,
there's nothing in my
Yeah.
teeth, I promise. I'm just
He's
drinking my wine.
Sommelier or what is
Yeah.
it?
Sommelier.
Sommelier, yeah.
Yeah. I have a question about
Uh-huh.
ABV, or not ABV, alcohol, blood. Wait, what? Right.
The levels?
Threshold, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there a movement to like it's
Up it?
it's 0.08 and they wanted to move it? There was a movement. Like, what would that be a federal thing, or would that be state by state?
That would be state by state. But like if you're if you're driving a cab or an Uber, the limit is like 0.00. But if you're driving your own car, it's higher.
0.08.
Yeah. God, I don't know off the
I
top
think
of my
it's
head.
0.08.
I think it changed it to 0.05. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have
so
to look
I
it up.
don't,
But
I think I don't
yeah.
know how the numbers work. I mean, because I'm
How the blood type?
Or blood
Yeah.
numbers.
So
Oh.
is it the higher the number is bad, or is
Yes.
it
Yeah.
the, oh,
Yes.
But you know,
okay.
So it's the percentage of alcohol in your blood.
Right.
So
okay.
0.08 is 0.08 of your
Yeah, see that? Okay, so
0.08%.
yeah, it's a lot of like defense attorneys. They'll get the client, like if they fight the DUI, and it's important. Like if there's like a death or something, and it's like a big case, it's a big deal. So because like let's say they pull you over at 11 p.m. But they don't do the test until 11:20 p.m. Right, and then it's high, right? It's over the threshold. A lot of times, so the way it works is like there's like imagine a curve. So then the defense attorney would be like, yeah, well, you happened to test him at the high point. He was just over. But 20 minutes ago, when you
Pulled him over, he wasn't.
He had to have been lower. Like, where was he on that curve?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why.
Technicalities.
Yeah. So sometimes some people say, no, I'm not going to do a breath. I want to go to the station.
So
or
they can get a
something.
blood test.
It's like I want to get a blood test
Yes.
because then if it takes an extra hour or so, then it's like, well,
Oh,
what
then it's coming
level?
down.
The curve is, yeah. Well, it could be coming, but the beauty is,
But it
yeah,
could be going up too.
it could be going up. But if it's almost a win-win because then if he's over, then it's like, yeah, well, it was going up. But when you arrested him or when you pulled him over an hour ago, it was below the threshold. Then if it's going down and then they test him and it's down, it's almost impossible for a prosecutor to say, well, that means he was, you know what I'm saying? Because he was fine when they tested him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you
It's hard. But I remember
Yeah.
there was a
That's
push to
interesting.
change it from like 0.08 to 0.05.
Yeah, I think I can't remember.
And I can't remember if it fully passed. But I just remember there was a push to do that.
I could look up in 5 seconds.
Um,
But yeah, so it was.
But I was just curious if that is different state by state.
Yeah, it is. Every
Can
state
you buy
has.
a breathalyzer to have at home? I would like
Yeah.
to test
Yeah,
that
in your
theory.
car.
I would like to test that theory.
What do you? Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Just take a breathalyzer test every 30 minutes like
Yeah,
you did
but-
when you were
Mhm, mhm.
drinking. What was that
When I
again?
was, just
Oh, yeah,
trying
no,
to see like with
How
you're
many
alcohol.
shots you could take?
It is 0.08. It is 0.08. Yeah, I thought. They tried to reduce it and they didn't. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
it didn't
0.08.
pass.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Because I would like to see like what is the threshold for my size.
But I think that's part of it is that people really don't understand what 0.08 feels like.
no,
Yeah, they don't
And
know.
so they're like, oh yeah, I'm okay.
right,
Mhm.
And then, but 0.08 is like, it's probably like one beer.
right.
Is it?
And people are like, oh, I've been eating, I've had water, I've had blah, 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 like
Yeah,
over the
'cause
last
you go to a restaurant,
6 hours or something, but that could still be 0.0, it could still be
yeah,
higher
people
than that.
don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
you're
when you
right.
get your driver's license renewal, there's that
the graph that
funny
no one-
grid that's very difficult to understand.
Right, exactly.
And it's
exactly.
like, that's not really
Some boring
educating the
science-
public
right, some boring
about
scientists
what that
did it-
means or
did
how
it
it works.
Yeah.
Plus,
I think I'm gonna try it.
no.
I'm going
Get a breathalyzer.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy one.
I'm sure there's one on Amazon.
No, listen,
And
hold
then
on.
I'ma see.
As your lawyer,
Okay.
Don't do that.
Should I give you
that
a
is
dollar?
what we
Put your
call
retainer?
evidence, okay? And you do not want
They own the
evidence.
breathalyzer.
Okay? Yeah, you don't want evidence. You know, like why would you do that to you? Nothing good
just
is going
wanted
to
to-
come out of it.
I
So
mean,
it's not like-
yeah. I mean, I'm not a.
This is why we have Joe on to run
Yeah.
it by our lawyer.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's like, why would you want evidence like that? And be like, oh my God, man, a criminal defense attorney
She
would stop the
knew
show
that her
right now. and just
threshold
like,
was whatever drinks, and she had more than that.
God, I'm having so much fun.
I know.
I don't know, just talking about ABV and alcohol blood levels.
Right, I need to know.
and
I needed some help.
We're giving Natasha advice. Don't
Legal
have
advice
a
at that.
breathalyzer in
do
the
not
car.
have a breathalyzer in your car.
Right. Got to make sure.
Unless it's legally mandated.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
And then we have a problem.
Exactly.
Then we have a problem if
Well,
it
might
is.
as well just have like a fingerprint kit at home.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God.
So as you guys have seen in our episode today, that we have had a great first of all, I want to thank you for being here. Secondly, I want people to find you because I need them to understand like your expertise and why you were brought on to the show. In case you guys didn't see the first season, which shame on you. Shame on you for not watching
Well, there's
that
an
first season.
opportunity for them to redeem themselves.
See, this is why I need Paige here.
Or is it
Go back to season one and
season
find
one,
the
episode 4,
episode.
you said, right?
And so let them know where to find you and also talk about a little bit about your podcast so they can know how to get
Awesome
you.
podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I have a podcast. I run it by my lawyer. You can find it everywhere you get podcasts and YouTube and all that. And I love doing it. I give a lot of legal advice. I'm an attorney. And, and of course, if you have any questions and whatnot, you can always contact me anytime you want.
Mhm.
How do they contact
you could, my phone number, 619-672-1741. And you can call me or email me, joe@samo law.com. And anything you need, you just run it by my
Run
lawyer.
it by-
Yeah.
And I
Thank
want
you.
to say it was my pleasure being with these two.
You're going to say it
good
first.
fellas.
Right.
What's that?
Said you beat us to it. You're going to say it first.
It was 100% my pleasure. I had the best time. you
Yeah.
know.
Thank you so
Good.
much.
Thank you for being here once again. And if any law pertaining to alcohol stuff comes up, we'll definitely have you on again.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Anything you
'Cause
need.
we gotta know.
My advice is, just if you're drinking, get a Lyft or Uber.
Yeah, for sure.
Do people still use taxi cabs?
I don't think so.
Are
And
they-
I don't know.
When
I
was the last
see one
time-
and I'm like, why?
What's going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Get a taxi cab.
If that's your thing, get
Right.
a taxi. If not,
I see.
get an
Okay,
Uber.
Vegas is the only place I see taxi cabs.
Yes, New
Right?
York.
Or New. Yeah, I haven't been there in forever, but yeah.
But thank you for being here. And Paige, welcome back. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy
So happy to be back.
that you're back. And once again, this is Odd Pairing signing off. Thanks for listening and watching Odd Pairing. So please subscribe, like, rate,
And comment with your favorite drinking stories and curiosities about adult beverages. Cheers.
I'm going to happy hour. Who's driving?